If you want a more detailed look at this week's forecast, go sign up for patron content on my website or on Patreon. You'll get weekly horoscopes, lunar horoscopes for the new and full moons, retrograde guides, and whatever other content I decide to spit out. Patrons keep the podcast ad-free and out from behind paywalls, so thank you, patrons. Like, rate, review, and subscribe so you never miss an episode. These are weekly Johns at this point. And honestly, I should have named this podcast The Weekly John. Low-key regretting that now. Could you imagine? The Weekly John. Not like anybody that's not from the East Coast would know what I'm talking about, but, it would be John, which is cool. And if my West Coast audience doesn't know what I'm referring to, it's JAWN. But back to the point, this Weekly John is steadfast, and it's something you can count on. Subscribe, share it, throw it into the internet ether, and pass it on to a friend. I might not feed the algorithm, but that doesn't mean you can't on my behalf. Let's dive into this week's forecast. Early in the week, we have the lovely Libra new moon. Patrons, you should have received horoscopes for this already, so check your inbox or the website you subscribe to my content for to read them. All the details on how to create more balance and harmony within the realm of Libra awaits. Like I just said, this new moon is going to be about bringing balance to the realm of Libra, but we're going to be looking for new ways to do so. New moon, new mode of action. This is how we're kicking the week off, so I recommend easing into the week if you're able. New moons are a time of darkness, a time of rejuvenation. Full moons are when we're busy and bolstered and everybody's crazy. New moons, things are chill, things are slow, so we're starting off this week a little bit slower. Methodical action, intentional action. Don't rush in or try to do too much at once. Keep balance and harmony in mind when starting the week. Midweek is when things start to get a little spicy. There's been lots of action in the realm of Scorpio, even though it hasn't been Scorpio season. Well, that changes on Wednesday when the sun finally ingresses into Scorpio. This means consciousness is shifting towards fixed water, which is stagnant emotion. I've held off on using certain keywords that pertain to Scorpio, but with the sun ingressing into that realm, I can no longer deny that obsession, investigation, and fixation are going to be part of the conversation. We've already been feeling this with Mars and Mercury in Scorpio, but now that the sun has arrived, it's a really undeniable energy. For me, this obsession, fixation, and investigation is within the second house realm. So I've been obsessing about finances, wanting to buy a house in a year or two. I've been looking around at realtors and just going down the rabbit hole with researching these people. I want to know who I'm working with. There was one person I really liked, and I was scouring her website, looking at interviews she did on YouTube, just anything where I could find more information on her. And I give this example because sometimes the words obsession, fixation, and investigation can have negative connotations attached to them, when that really doesn't have to be the case. We can all use this Scorpio energy to dig deeper, investigate, and empower ourselves, or we can use it to be nosy and go poking around in places that we have no business being and hurt our own feelings. Both can happen, but we do get to choose how we use it. I think a lot of the time Scorpio gets demonized as this dark and obsessive figure that's like the anti-hero. When it's like, it could be. It very well could be. That happens a lot of the time, but it's a trope. And sometimes fixed water can be used in a way that's like, okay, let me empower myself. There's a whole thing with power in Scorpio. So use that as a means to empower yourself rather than just use your power to exert it into the world and then end up, again, hurting your own feelings because you went down the rabbit hole. Don't do that. Use it in a way that is positive or in a way that helps you sink deeper into something, gain more knowledge. Both Mars and Mercury are there right now as well. So use it intellectually. With all the Scorpio energy floating around, we're bound to get obsessive and fixated on something. Again, just try to make sure that something that you fixate on isn't detrimental. We're in a Mars-heavy astrological atmosphere at the moment, which can either mean ambition and action, severing and slicing, or anger and intensity. Any combination of those words can be put together right now. So again, be smart with how you pair them. Another big ingression happening this week is with my favorite generational planet, Neptune. Neptune is ingressing back into Pisces because it's retrograde right now. So it'll be meeting up with Saturn once again. To all my Saturn and Pisces people, don't backslide or forget the lessons that you've learned thus far. Neptune is a malefic, and it's going to bring a haze over Saturn's lessons, but don't let it deter you from what you know you need to do or the progress that you've made. Neptune is going to stay in Pisces until late January of next year, so it's going to be traveling with Saturn for the remainder of its time in Pisces, which is super fun. I'm not even in my Saturn return, and I'm super annoyed about it. It won't be until April or May of next year that Saturn finally puts some healthy distance between it and Neptune, so we've got some time yet with the gloom, the illusions, and the fake nostalgia that Neptune and Saturn and Pisces conjure up when they're together. Come the end of the week, we have some major water trines happening. Mercury and Mars are close in the late degrees of Scorpio, so they're acting as one. Remember that conjunction from last week? They're still kind of together. They're not super, super close like they were, but close enough. So they're acting as one. And then you have Jupiter and Cancer in the later degrees and Saturn and Pisces in the later degrees. They're all sitting around 24, 25, 26. If I had to sort of group them, for those of you that want the technical details, they're all in that kind of range there. But what this means is that the water houses are going to be absolutely lit up come the end of next week. I would say from roughly Thursday on, this energy is going to heat up in the water houses. So let's break this down. We have both malefics, Saturn and Mars, and then we have Jupiter and Mercury. They're all in agreement because it's a trine. It's a nice harmonic flowing energy, so that's nice. Mercury and Mars are sitting close to each other, so their energy is blending, which means the realm of Scorpio is looking to take mental action or be spurred verbally. Jupiter in Cancer has just been looking for a reason to rain down goodness, and this might finally be the chance. Jupiter might finally do something for us all. Saturn is retrograde currently, so there's a reworking of something in Pisces, a revisiting. We're restructuring something there. And Saturn, since it's retrograde, is open to the idea via the trines from these other planets. So this creates a landscape where the water houses are primed to make a change with long-term ramifications. Since Saturn isn't exerting its usual boundaries, limitations, and restrictions, we're able to rework something. If Saturn wasn't retrograde, I'd be saying that Jupiter and Saturn would be more at odds with each other. But since it is retrograde, there's an opening for Jupiter and Mars and Mercury to change something, to implement wisdom or expand upon old growth, old wisdom. Mars and Mercury are bringing depth and clarity to the situation via research and the investigatory energy I was talking about earlier. If we put our desire to fixate into something productive, we can further change, alter, or pivot the realm of Pisces via Saturn's retrograde. We need to push ourselves to learn something new, do something different, make a plan, and take it seriously. We aren't just fixating and obsessing for the hell of it right now. If you get an urge or a deeply rooted feeling to explore something, then do it. Don't ignore these urges. Explore them, expand upon them, see where they lead. This is especially true within the water houses of your chart. Patrons, I've laid this out for you in your weekly horoscope, so make sure you look at those so you know how fixation can lead to good fortune, expansion, and applied wisdom. It's a watery week. All of the traditional planets except Venus are going to be in water signs starting on Wednesday, which is why I'm saying to not doubt your urges and intuitive nudges. Follow those threads, but also be aware of Neptune's nostalgia and illusions. Once you realize you're chasing the white rabbit, turn back and put your efforts towards something that has potential for real and true longevity. Thank you for tuning into this week's forecast. If you want a more detailed look at what this week's astro weather holds for you personally, go to my website, moonmattersastrology.com, and sign up to receive my zine. You can also find me on Patreon by searching for Moon Matters. The best way to keep up to date with my work or to book a reading with me is to sign up for my mailing list on my website. I'll meet you back here next week, but until next time, later days.